Well, friends, hard to believe we're already halfway through the year. And with that, we now have 6 months in the books of Lubbock's real estate market. As I've mentioned before, it's been a quirky market. And as always, let's just get right to the numbers and see what they look like so far through the first part of our year of 2025. So, as we jump in, we'll cover the four metrics we normally do: the market overview, buyer activity, listing inventory, and interest rates. So, overall activities, we start the year and look at number of homes under contract. So for June, 440 homes that went under contract. This is down from June of last year, also down from May. Now, this is a normal seasonal decline coming down from May, but what that does mean is we are past the peak part of our selling season for 2025, with April being our peak month so far this year. Number of homes closed, 499 for the month of June 2025. Median sold price up at 250,000, and average sold price is up 303,000, which is a gain of about almost 5% compared to June a year ago. Average days on market. Now, this is tricky, and it's because the Lubbock Association of Realtors, LAR as we call it, made a policy change back at the early part of the year when we changed MLS providers. The old policy had counting days on market from the list date to the closing date, which included under contract days. They decided when they changed MLS providers to go from listing date to under contract date, which is a policy I advocated for years ago, but at that time they did not feel like was an appropriate change. The challenge is that our current MLS provider is struggling to get the data caught up and calculated correctly. So if you really want to look at the true days on market calculated as our old policy has been for years, you'd want to add about 30 days to the 47 days for a total of about 77 days on market. The reason I say 30 days is our average closing time is about 30 days from the time a home goes under contract till it closes. So with that, the true days on market is closer to 77 days if you're using the old days counting there. So year to date, as you look at the number of homes closed, we're up almost 3%, and average sales price is up about 3.5%. This is in line with what I forecasted at early part of this year, of what I expected this year to do. So far, we are tracking that direction. Now, as we look at the monthly under contract activity, as I mentioned, April was our peak month, 504 homes going under contract. And again, if you missed an earlier video from a couple months ago, that's the first month since 2021 that we have eclipsed 500 homes going under contract. So we're just a little bit less than that in May, and of course in June we're pulling back more. Just evidence we're past the peak selling season, so it means that sellers need to be more proactive on their pricing strategies and really zone target in on their marketing strategies as well. Active listings have been a very interesting year so far. Of course, we peaked out around 1,650 active listings back into September, early October last year. Started whittling our way down as we got to the end of the year, first part of this year, to around that 1,330 range, and then has started inching back up here the last couple of months. Got in the 1,400 range in April, 1,500 in May. We're now back hovering around 1,640 as I make this video. And so it's really interesting in our market, and part of the quirkiness of it, that we have inventory increasing, but the average sales price is also increasing with that. So hard to understand why the market's doing that, but nonetheless it is. And so buyers who have waited for lower rates, which we'll talk about in a minute, have now traded off some of that gain for price appreciation. As you look at the mortgage rates, as held pretty steady first part of this year, 6.5 to really 6.75 range, let's call it. Of course, we were up around 7% in January, have kind of pushed up near there a couple times since then. But the good news, over the last week and a half, rates receded about 0.25%. Most lenders locally now are in the 6.5% range for a 30-year conventional loan, around 6% for an FHA loan. We may be finally getting some of the relief we're looking for. Of course, if you've kept up with the news, there's a lot of speculation as to whether or not the Fed will make any cuts later this year. Hard to know if that'll happen or not. We'll just have to wait and see. And of course, remember, when the Fed made their last two rate cuts, mortgage rates actually went up. So don't look for a Fed rate cut to actually have a dramatic impact on mortgage rates. It could help them, but there's no guarantee. As always, if you have any questions, we're here for you. Happy to help you if you're just curious about the market. curious about any home needs upgrade you're considering, or just general real estate questions, always happy to help you, a family member, or friends as well. And as always, if you need anything, just reach back to us, and we'll talk to you soon.